Hi, I'm Paula, and this is a little work in progress space where I talk about movies, books, series, and honestly, anything that I think is worth sharing with you guys on the other side of the screen. This is my first video, so I need to battle against shyness, fear of failing, and, let's be honest, a tough topic. Not an easy challenge, but better done than perfect, like they say, right? Mystery, Parkinson's, mother and daughter relationship, society, and death. Believe it or not, this is the mixed salad of the book Elena Knows of Claudia Piñeiro. A little warning though, this book will talk about some delicate topics. It does approach death, suicide, and abortion. Before I read this book for a book club here in Milan last month, I had no idea how Claudia Piñeiro was, and I pardon about my ignorance. However, now I do know a little bit more, and you know what? She is kind of a big deal. Claudia is one of the top 3 most translated Argentinian writers alongside José Luis Borges and Julio Cortázar. She started working as an accountant, but then abandoned that profession and started to be a full-time journalist. Afterwards, she ended up becoming a full-time writer, and she did write script plays and television scripts. Claudia has 10 novels, more or less, which have been translated into different languages and also have been adapted into featured films. So what's her jam? Her jam is crime fiction, but not purely. She does have a tendency to add social commentary into her stories. I also found out that she's an important figure in the Argentinian feminist movement. Claudia played a strong role in her country's campaign to legalize abortion in 2020. Another thing, maybe because of her journalistic background, or maybe just because she's an intelligent human being, she's also known as an advocate against right-wing politics and has been very vocal against hate speech in the media. There are so many interviews available out there about Claudia that I could do basically a video just about her. She's fascinating. But to add a bit more color about who she is, I thought about bringing you guys 2 different quotes about her work that stuck with me the most. So the first one was when she was asked about, let's say, the importance of being an ambassador of Latin American literature as a woman. And this is what she said: "I am a female Latin American writer, and I am very aware of where I'm writing from. A place that is far from power, whether geopolitical or literary. I think that for this reason, so many women authors from the region have become to proeminence in recent years, because we are basically writing from the margins. A minor literature, we're considered, with a kind of determination. And minor because we are not at the center of power. We do it almost as a survival instinct." And this last sentence really hit me strongly. We Latin women do it almost like a survival instinct. We Latin women are always surviving, right? But let's go back to her core theme, crime novels. About that, this is what she said and what stuck with me. "Crime novels historically and all over the world have been one of the most effective literary tools to write about social issues, to reflect about society." So almost like a mirror, right? So, all right, I think this sets the tone for us to start digging into the book. So let's see what the heck Elena knows, or what she has no idea what she knows, or maybe doesn't, right? So let's start with a little official plot summary extracted from the Booker Prize website. Elena goes searching for answers after her daughter's body is discovered, hanging in a church bell tower. Not satisfied by the police's judgment of Elena embarks on a laborious journey across Buenos Aires to investigate the death of her daughter, Rita. All this while managing the debilitating effects and symptoms of Parkinson's disease. But there's definitely more. And let me tell you a little bit about what I took from this book and what I understood and what I think it's relevant to share with you guys. So First of all, Elena is not a likable character. There, I said it, we get this out of the way, and I think this will be a much better conversation now. I actually would define her as a bitter woman in her 60s with a lot of baggage, some of which we don't know where it comes from or why it comes. And to give an idea, Elena really refers to her Parkinson's disease as a fucking whore illnesses, or in Spanish, puta enfermedad. We spend the book going through the journey of hers and how she's trying to understand who killed her daughter. But the pace of the book is peculiar. It goes on during one full day, and the rhythm is given by the medicine that she needs to take because of Parkinson's, which is the levodopa, and she takes it in different moments of the day. It is the medicine that turns her body muscles on and off and allows her to kind of like do things or not do things. And the author does an interesting job of describing the scenes through her vision, through Elena's vision, because we see the world from her perspective, which is very limited to people's shoes and to basically a very low vision of the world because her neck is stiff because of Parkinson's. So she doesn't really move her head up. Everything that she can do is look down. Another moment of the book where we see Parkinson's impacting her life is when we have a possibility of understanding how it can actually be helpful to be pushed into a train at rush hour if you're Elena, instead of just walking in. And this is because the muscles of Elena's body does not respond to hers at certain times. It's crazy. This puta enfermedad makes it almost impossibly difficult for Elena to swallow even a pill. And the book literally explained the craziness of having something stuck in your throat. And even if she thinks about it, if she tries to swallow it, basically her body just do not respond because the throat muscles don't get to answer her. Can you imagine the anguish of this? It's quite impactful, the description. And the other key character of the book is actually Rita. She is Elena's daughter and caretaker. We are presented to Rita through Elena's memories, so we don't really hear Rita's voice directly and her impact in life directly, even though we can imagine it's really hard as a caretaker. But talking about Rita, something that made me really think about her is reflecting afterwards. Is like we tend to see religion normally in books as something really being passed on from parents to children. But Elena does not present herself as a religious mother. Nope. She actually is constantly like picking on Rita about how religious she is and how this is not something good. And through the book, it seems that the true religious one of the family was Elena's husband, Rita's dad, who we know almost nothing about. Religion does play a big role as a background character of this book. Not as a faithful book, but showing different perspectives and relationship of Catholicism in people's life. The big thread of the book, though, is this big quest of Elena to find out how Rita died. Elena knows that Rita cannot have died by suicide because it was raining on the night that she was found dead in the church. And Elena keeps remembering and reminding everyone that she comes across that Rita was very scared to go out when it rained, which is why she's so certain that it was a murder. It could have not been a suicide. Now, if you do want to read free from spoilers or free of knowing more about this book, skip this part of the video, go straight to the end where I talk about my perceptions of the book. So there are other characters in the book that Elena meets during this long day. Rita's boyfriend, the family doctor, the detective inspector, the priest, and they all play a specific role in the story. It's almost like each of them brings a reflection of its own, and it's quite impactful. But the real turning point is when we meet Isabel. Isabel is somebody that studied with Rita in the past, when they were both young girls in school. When this meetup between Isabel and Elena finally happens in the book, the novel makes us understand how Isabel was abused when she was a young girl, that she got impregnated, and that she wanted to abort the child. But here's the twist that I personally wasn't expecting. Rita was the one that stopped her from doing the abortion. Her religious beliefs stopped her school friend and strongly believed it was the right thing to do. right? Just because of her religious faith. And when Elena goes to Isabel during one of her one-day saga and says to her, oh, you know what, you owe us a thank you because look, now you have this teenage beautiful daughter of yours or something like that. She actually needs to swallow, and it's quite fascinating to say the least, that Isabel, with no filters, not holding back, she basically says, what the heck? She doesn't even call me mom. I never wanted to have a daughter. It was raw, it was real, and it was truthful. And I appreciated the fact that the book shows this woman that does not glorify being a mother, that she actually doesn't want to be a mother. Because we normally see women selling motherhood as something transformative, how we need to love our children, right? So would I recommend this book? Yes, I would. I love the human explanation of Parkinson's disease impact in daily life. It is a subject that I rarely encounter in my readings, and I thought it was really innovative the way that the book was structured, all by Elena's intake of her medicine and how this kind of like is the big hassle for her to keep doing her big investigation, her big mission. So turning kind of her body on and off, allowing her to go on or not. It gave the book a different pace to it. It seemed slow but deep, raw, and all in less than 200 books. This little baby is small. I think it is important to note though that you will not finish this book and think, you know what, I love Elena. You know what, I love Rita. No, you will not. They are complicated people, and a lot of times these women are depicted as unhappy, bitter people that often treat others badly. It is though a book that talks about how society builds us, how we never truly know what others go through or have gone through. It talks really deep about some women interactions and some issues. It is a book about religion, about culture, about strictness, and about not really listening to other people's will. But let's say you do not want to face this less than 200 pages book, and you just want to see a movie, do not worry. There is a movie based on the novel on Netflix by Anahi Berneri. I hope I am pronouncing it right, and sorry if I'm not. Today we talked about Elena Knows by Claudia Piñeiro. Let us know what you thought about the book in the comments below, or if you do not feel like reading it or you just want to comment about the movie. Be kind, and until next time, ciao ciao!